Hello and welcome, dear viewers, to a new edition of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and updates taking place on the African scene. And we will start off with our major top stories and reports. 113 ships passed through the Suez Canal by Tuesday morning, while a traffic jam caused by the stranding of the ship Ever Given is to be cleared within 4 days. More in the following report.
To refloat the ship. The operation was accomplished without human or material damage. Sisi's remarks came at the start of a visit to the Maritime Training and Simulation Center of the Suez Canal Authority on the 30th of March 2021. He said the blockage of the Suez Canal by the mega Ever Given container ship has reaffirmed the importance of the canal, praising Egyptians' response in a time of crisis. He said the crisis affirmed the major role and significance of the canal in the past 150–160 years. Sisi said the crisis also showed the strong impact of the canal on global trade, which he said sees the crossing of 12 to 13% of total global trade. He was speaking a day after Egypt succeeded in refloating the mega container ship that blocked the canal for 6 days, thus allowing navigation in the strategic waterway to resume. He also thanked the authorities' workers who participated in the rescue operation. Sisi said Egypt was able to overcome major crises in the past 7 or 8 years due to the awareness of Egyptians. The 400-meter-long Ever Given, which was on its way from China to the port city of Rotterdam in the Netherlands, veered off course and ran aground diagonally while it was passing through the international trade route on Tuesday morning. The gigantic ship, which had been wedged sideways across the waterway for 6 days, left around 422 vessels queued in the waterway or at anchor, awaiting transit through the canal. SCA Chairman Osama Rabia said that a new dredger dubbed Mohab Mamish will arrive in Egypt on the 7th of April from the Netherlands, with another dredger arriving in August. He highlighted progress on the clearing of 422 vessels queued due to the saga. Some 113 ships crossed the waterway by Tuesday morning after the resumption of traffic in the canal. 140 ships passed the canal by the end of the day, with 95 passing by 7 p.m. and another 45 by midnight. He said the backlog due to the suspension of traffic by the crisis would be cleared in 3 or 4 days.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and still with our special reports, Egypt's Ministry of Health said the country would receive a new batch of coronavirus vaccines doses through the vaccine sharing program starting Wednesday. More details in this report.
Egypt's health ministry announced that the country would receive a new batch of 854,000 coronavirus vaccine doses through the COVAX vaccine sharing program starting Wednesday. Zayed discussed the current situation of all vaccines Egypt had received so far. Zayed discussed the current situation of all the vaccines Egypt had received so far at a meeting held at the House of Parliament over the coronavirus crisis. In the past few weeks, Egypt received 600,000 doses of the Sinopharm vaccine as a gift from China. The ministry also discussed buying new shipments from Sinopharm. It also received a 50,000-dose batch shipped by AstraZeneca in January. Zayed said in the meeting that the ministry noticed there were new symptoms recorded for coronavirus in Egypt, including severe inflammation of the eye membrane, skin rash, extreme tiredness, headaches, and hearing problems. Egypt has officially recorded 200,739 cases of coronavirus, including 153,630 recoveries and 11,914 fatalities.
Welcome back, and moving on to Mali, a UN probe found that a French strike in Mali in January killed 19 civilians. More details.
A UN probe has linked France to the recent airstrike that killed 19 civilians gathered for a wedding in Mali. The report also refuted claims that fighters were linked to the attack that occurred in January. The Human Rights Division of the UN mission in Mali, together with the UN forensic experts, had launched investigations to the attack near Bounty, central Mali, on the 3rd of January, and was able to confirm that indeed there was a wedding ceremony that brought together around 100 civilians at the site of the strike, including 5 armed persons, presumed members of a fighter group, according to the report. At least 22 people were killed, including 3 of the alleged members of Katiba Sirma, 19 on the spot, 3 during their evacuation, the report reveals. France confirmed that the bombing came after precise and verified intelligence, rejecting accusations of slaying wedding guests. Paris claimed to have annihilated militants. Villagers reported a helicopter strike in broad daylight that caused panic in a crowd that they said had gathered for a wedding. Mali's government and the French army previously denied allegations that a French airstrike killed civilians attending the wedding. France has more than 5,000 military personnel stationed in Mali and the Sahel.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and on the COVAX vaccine sharing program, we're glad to be joined over the phone by Dr. Salah Abdallah, political analyst. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, welcome.
Well, Dr. Abdallah, Egypt's Ministry of Health announced that Egypt would receive a new batch of 854,000 coronavirus vaccine doses through the COVAX vaccine sharing program starting Wednesday. Well, how would you elaborate on the objective of the COVAX vaccine sharing program?
Well, COVAX vaccine is one of the vaccines which is used now for protection against COVID-19.
Yes.
You know, the health organization, World Health Organization, want to vaccinate all the people in the world. This is the way of protection.
Yes.
But of course, the number of vaccines needed is million, is a horrible number. So every country is taking a share. You know, Egypt now is taking a share, and
yes.
when it is finished, it will take the second share, and so on.
Yes.
They of course start by giving the vaccine to the medical personnel, which usually facing the danger of the disease.
Yes.
Then the old people over 60 years, and then after that they give the young generations.
Yes.
This process is continuous. Before that, there was also vaccines used in Egypt here from China. Now these vaccines also will be used, and so on, until we level at least 50 or 60% of the population will be vaccinated, so we can reach the standard of immunity of the society. And this should not happen only in Egypt, it happened in the whole world. But as I said, the numbers needed is very high. That's why the countries now, every country is taking a share of this. Of course, Egypt, or the government in Egypt, is playing a good role, and we are taking vaccines from many sources, either through this organization or through agreement with countries like China. And of course, this will help in vaccinating the great number of people until we reach the level at least of 50% of the population. Then we enter into the safe side of the people, safe side of the people against that disease.
Right. Well, sir, as you mentioned, reaching the 50 or 60% is the desired level of immunity. When do you think Egypt and other African countries will reach the 50 or 60% vaccination to the populations in the African continent in order to achieve the herd immunity?
Of course, in Africa there is a big problem, because of course the rich countries usually taking the vaccines, the great number of vaccines to themselves, and send small amounts to Africa. But I think there is another role to be played. You know, countries like Egypt, like South Africa, like Nigeria, have the facilities to manufacture the vaccine.
Yes.
So by agreement between the countries who have the source of the vaccine, like China or like Britain, Oxford University, and so on, the vaccines can be manufactured in our laboratories here in Egypt or in South Africa and in Nigeria. By this way, this can help to find the number of vaccines needed to Africa and to increase the rate of vaccination in Africa to reach the level needed.
Yes.
So I think there is trial now between the African countries and the European countries and China for manufacturing the vaccines in the countries who have the equipment, as I said, like Egypt and like South Africa and like Nigeria. Because if we wait to take just an amount every now and then, it will take a long, long time in Africa because the rich countries are, you know, taking the majority of the vaccines for themselves. But it will be solved by cooperation in the manufacturing of the vaccines.
Yes. Sir, what countries in Africa can benefit from the COVAX vaccine sharing program, in your opinion?
As I said, Egypt, because Egypt have the equipment and the facilities for producing the vaccines. South Africa is the same thing because the standard of education and manufacturing are high. I think the third countries would be Nigeria. Nigeria also, they have the universities and they have this technique for manufacturing these vaccines or producing the vaccines by agreement of the countries like China or like England and so on. I think this is the only three countries which have the standard of education, standard of laboratories for manufacturing or producing such vaccines. The other countries still, you know, the facilities can't allow them, or the standard of education or the standard of production or the lab is not in the standard which can help in that. But it will be given a share, you know. The countries which can produce in Africa will give each African country a share from the vaccines until they reach the level they need it, because the vaccination must be in all the continent, and it will be the same in the whole world if we want immunity for the world from COVID-19.
Yes. Well, sir, how do you weigh the pace of vaccination in Egypt and other African states so far?
Well, number one, we have to say that in Egypt and Africa is much lucky than Europe and the United States. Because of the weather, the number of cases in all Africa is equaling for one European country. So this is a good luck. Although North Africa have more cases than the Middle Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, you know, we have numbers higher than the countries in the mid of Africa. But anyhow, Africa as a whole is less than one country in Europe. But of course, vaccination must be continued for all the people in Africa. As I said, we have to reach the level of 50 to 60% of the population. Anyhow, the vaccination is going well, but still, as I said, depend upon the amounts which given to us from the countries. Like, you know, China give Egypt some thousands of vaccination. Like now, as you said, there is another share and so on. So the question, as we said, it needs to be increased rapidity. The vaccination must be more rapid than that. And as we said, it will not happen except by sharing in the production of vaccines to increase the number of produced vaccines for the increasing the rate of vaccination. But anyhow, the vaccination is going in all Africa. Every country is taking a share, but of course, some countries is taking more than the other, but the vaccination is going in all Africa, but in a slow process than Europe and than United States.
Right. Dr. Abdallah, health officials revealed that the ministry noticed there were new symptoms recorded for coronavirus in Egypt, including severe inflammation of the eye membrane, skin rash, extreme tiredness, headaches, and heat development.
Changes in the character of the virus. This is normally, it happens in all the viruses, which we call it mutation. Even if you remember the influenza virus, you find that when you are vaccinated, or I go to be vaccinated, they say there is 4 tribes. You know, former it was 1 tribe, then it became 2, then 3, this is 4. So it is part of the nature.
So it's the mutation of the virus itself.
Mutation, changes. But this decreases the ability of the virus. It can change in the signs, but it will be less powerful than before. You know, that's why it's not strange to find new mutation or new changes in the character of the virus, but this virus will be less powerful than the original. So this is a normal process to happen, and the vaccination is giving, you know, immunity against the virus, and of course, with the new changes, the immunity still have effect on decreasing the power of the virus. So we have not to afraid too much of these changes, because
right.
It's a character of the virus.
Yes. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Salah Abdallah, our political analyst. Many thanks for watching, and this brings us to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching, and now we move on to a live transmission.